Frank? Frank?
Oh, hi. My name is Frank Rose, and I'm the author of The Art of Immersion. It's a book about how the internet is changing storytelling, and I thought I'd talk a little now about how I came to write it. I've been telling stories my whole life, really. In the 70s, I landed in New York and started covering the scene at CBGB, writing about bands like Talking Heads and the Ramones and Blondie. After that, I wrote a couple of books and ended up in 1999 writing for Wired magazine. Around 2006 or so, I did an interview with James Cameron for an article about 3D. Cameron was just starting to work on Avatar at the time, and we ended up talking about it quite a bit. He described what he wanted to do as really an immersive experience. In fact, he described it as kind of a fractal experience where you could jump in powers of 10 and the pattern would still hold up. For the casual fan, you could just watch the movie and that would be it. But for the truly committed fan, you could go in deeper and deeper. A year or so after that, I was doing an article about alternate reality games. It was focused on the Year Zero album that Nine Inch Nails had done. Trent Reznor had created this album as a concept album. It was a dystopian vision of America as a theocratic police state. But he had a problem, and his problem was how to really convey that. So he went to a company in Pasadena called 42 Entertainment, and he enlisted their help in creating a new kind of immersive narrative. It began really with a series of concerts in Lisbon. People who bought t-shirts at the show discovered odd messages embedded in their shirts, and things got stranger and stranger after that.
It's not a television show that is on a flat screen that you watch with a beginning and an end. It's not a story you read in a book that's on a page. It's not something on a website that's contained within the parameters of what you know what it is. It spills off those things and into each other and feels like it has no limits.
We do try to blur those lines between reality and what is fiction, but we're never really trying to create a hoax. What we want to do is create an experience where people feel like they're cracking open a novel and jumping into a story.
I've sat in many movie theaters and kind of imagined myself in this world. You know, I've put myself in the place of, characters that I'm seeing. And if people do a fantastic job, whether it's on the page or on the screen, of creating a complete world, then yes, there's many stories to tell there. There's many tangents that you can go down. We've daydreamed about them, and now we can take some of those daydreams and make them realities.
So what I do is really about pattern recognition. And as I worked, I began to see some new patterns. I saw that new ways of telling stories were beginning to emerge. And
this participatory world that we live in today is fundamentally changing the economics and the world of entertainment and marketing. Frank Rose has written an amazing book about this topic. It's called The Art of Immersion. I commend you to read it.
It made me think about other transitions, other new technologies. That's when I understood that every time a major new medium comes along, it takes people 20 or 30 years just to figure out what to do with it. Television was invented around 1925, but it was 1951 before you had the sitcom, which is the first form of storytelling that's really native to TV. Motion picture camera was invented around 1890, but it took them until 1910 to even come up with the idea of movie stars. And it was another 17 years after that before they had sound. So what's happening is that a new grammar of storytelling is emerging. A grammar of storytelling that's native to the internet and to the networked world it's creating. But people are still trying to figure out the rules. And these are the people I talked to for the book. People like James Cameron, people like Damon Lindelof and Carlton Hughes, the guys who ran Lost, people like Will Wright, the creator of The Sims. These are the people who are defining the way we tell stories today and how we will be telling them tomorrow. In this book is the story I wrote about them.